Awesome. Awesome. All right. Hit and go
Yeah,
live. Here we do
yeah.
this. All right. All right. All right. Here we are. 2022. Welcome to the sick episode. When I was in high school, 94, Rangers won the Stanley Cup. Coolest word was sick, man. That was sick. Could you imagine if it was 2022 and like that was the cool thing to say? Like so not cool, right? That's been reappropriated by like Omicron and a bunch of other Greek letters. Here we are. It's a new year. It's also a new episode. We are going beyond stuttering, transcending stuttering. We're going north. We're going above the border into Canada, keeping it international with an amazing guest today, Ryan Cowley. And just before I get into the intro here, I'll just share with everybody. First of all, I shared this in a message at the end of 2021 on a video, but I would just say this. If we are looking ahead and feeling a little overwhelmed, we're in good company because I'm in that company. And if we're looking ahead and feeling like we don't know what's coming next, we're in good company. But I would just say each and every one of us, if we're here, if we're listening to this live, or if we're listening to this on a playback podcast later, we made it. We made it, and we should look back and see what were the things that enabled us, that gave us strength, that kept us in a stronger place, that kept us healthy in the past months, because we've been through this already for a couple months. We're battle tested. We're coming into 2022, whatever it throws at us, it's not our first time at this rodeo. So I just encourage everybody, as overwhelming and as much as it can feel like we don't know what's next, we feel like we've been through the worst of it, we're coming through the other end. I don't know what's coming either, but I do know I'm overwhelmed, I'm unsure, it makes me uneasy, I don't function at my best. There was a study I saw, it's been proven now that the stress of COVID actually decreases cognitive functioning. Big finding. Big finding. It's now research proven, as if you needed that. But
Huh.
my point to everyone is to say this: it might decrease our cognitive functioning, but if we're here, we've learned a little bit of something about what triggers us, what puts us over the top. What are some ways that we are getting buried or got buried in the past? And what are some ways that we've crawled out or that we've stayed strong? So I just wish everybody stays strong, look back, look forward, and find the company of people that get it, people that can be supportive, whatever you're dealing with, you shouldn't feel alone. And if you're in a position that you're healthy and well, take the time to reach out and share the abundance that you have with someone else, whether it's a phone call to a family member, to a friend, to someone, a message on Facebook, whatever. Everybody is looking for that human connection in a time that we're more and more isolated. And as the world is moving into tech, we're looking for that human connection, which brings me to my second big announcement, which I'll be very brief, and that is 2022 is going to be a huge year for all of us. And for me personally, I am incredibly excited to reflect and to build on everything we've done in the past. We're now going to be rolling out a easy access to a community of people, humans around the world, who are just transcending stuttering with courage, with honesty, with vulnerability, and with community, kind of pulling together each person in their own way to lean into the challenges, discover the opportunities, and come out on the other side stronger and better for it, whether that means they're still stuttering or they're not stuttering, but growing and finding community and discovering that the best stuff we have is inside of us. And sometimes it takes adversity to squeeze it out. And you can't draw a line from here to there when you look forwards, but you look back and you say, wow. And it's stories like Ryan's and others that continue to prove that message. And the intention of this is really for me to keep learning, for myself, to be a guide for others, to fuel my own fire, to be honest, and also to share these stories with others. Because if you met Ryan just a couple of years ago, you might not have expected he'd be the Ryan of today. And so, without further ado, stay tuned. Send me a message if you're interested. But we got some incredible things coming up in January. We're also going to open up and release a pretty outstanding calendar for the coming month and months of all sorts of opportunities for professionals, people who stutter, parents. There we go. That wraps up what I wanted to say about that. We are in the presence of an award-winning sports writer, author, celebrity. Most of those things are fully true without any hyperbole. Ryan has been a sports writer for over 10 years, predominantly covering hockey and the NHL's LA Kings. Most recently, check out hockeyroyalty.com, where he is the co-editor. Ryan's covered such events as the Stanley Cup Final. For those of you Americans that don't follow hockey, that's like the World Series of hockey. The Hockey Hall of Fame induction weekend. And he's written for publications such as the CBC Sports and the Globe and Mail, both based in his home city of Toronto. So shout out to all my Torontonian friends. And without further ado, I want to thank you, Ryan, for taking the time to join us this morning.
Good morning, Yuri. Thank you very much for that introduction. I really appreciate that.
Listen, it's not often I get to do like my impression of a radio voice introduction, but you bring out the sports writer, you gotta bring out your best game. So thanks for joining, and it was an honor to introduce. What would be one thing that does not show up in that bio that you feel is something you're proud of, excited about, and want people to know?
Geez, that's a very good question. I know in speaking to other people who stutter, everyone's path has been like very different, very unique, and and mine, like, there's no exception. Like, so for instance, like when I first started seeing speech therapists, I was maybe 4, but like, I believe that was predominantly because I was so shy that I didn't speak. And like, how that started, I'm not sure. I think I was just a sensitive kid in general. And I think I really started stuttering when I was maybe 6 or around 6. And to be honest, like when I started stuttering, even the first few years of stuttering, I guess because I started so young, I didn't really see anything out of the ordinary. I just figured, like, I never saw myself as a person who stuttered or someone who's different. I just thought, well, I did this, so it's normal to me. But like it's just one of those things where it kind of like I guess in a small sense, you kind of like build your own identity over the over the years, and I'm sure a lot of people who stutter can relate to this, but like as a child, I was like I was teased a lot and bullied, and even, and it's one of these things as an adult I say a lot, but like but the teased or bullied, it's even though there are a lot more people like teachers, adults who are very supportive, it's like I couldn't help but focus on those, like on that fraction of people who were negative towards me. and uh, uh, um, no, I just remember for the longest time, just saying to myself, well, not myself, but out loud too. It's like, um, like not to be dramatic, but kind of like looking up to the sky and saying like, and asking God, like, why must why do you have me stuttering? Why am I like this? And it's like, and um, uh, uh, and part of it's just like, you're at that young age where you don't quite have an appreciation for like a better perspective on life because the people who are a lot worse off, but at the same time it's like um and in my book I just talk about how like how I view my stuttering um uh, as a curse for all intents and purposes for the longest time, and only in recent years, like in last 5-10 years, even um um I am still in the process of like of getting better with my speech, but at the same time, it's like just the thought of it being a curse was so like archaic to me. Now it's like, I mean, I wouldn't say blessing necessarily, but like it can definitely be advantageous. You can definitely use it like in your favor. That's how I feel at least. And um, uh, I'm sorry, I'm kind of really circling around this answer. Basically, what I want people to know is that like uh, yeah, for the longest time, I just had a really negative outlook on my stuttering, and and I just wanted to let people know who are in my position that I was in. That like, you can change that, but also don't be pressured to change it right away. Like for instance, if you're listening to this and think, uh, uh, well, I want to be positive, but don't feel pressured that you have to do it like right now because uh, everyone's different. But believe me, like my experience, this has not been by any means an overnight process. So like, yeah, uh, uh, um, uh, uh, yeah. So like when I was like 18, I figured like, oh man, uh, I wish I had a better grasp on things when I was 14 or like, but you know what? Just like, don't put age or number on it. It's just like there's, just like as the old adage goes, it's better late than never, right?
As we said before we started, it's showtime. There's three periods in hockey, it's four quarters in basketball, and sometimes you get a overtime. But yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Tell us, as you said, on the one hand, there's a very universal story arc when
Mhm.
you talk to enough people that live with a certain condition. And even when you go broader than that, you can look at the arc of stories of people dealing with all sorts of adversity, whether it's stuttering or something else. As you said as well, each person, first of all, has a different set of circumstances. So
Yeah.
your stutter doesn't look like someone else's stutter. And then there's another person whose stutter looks very different. I think that's the first thing that I keep reminding myself, like 101, when we're on these Facebook groups or you're looking online, like to recognize stuttering as this umbrella uh, term, and that
Yeah.
many people find identity under that umbrella with great value to that. But at the same time, if you don't know the shoes someone else is walking in, don't assume it's the same stutter that you have in your mind, or if it's a parent of a young person or whatever. So each person has their own journey, and similarly, each person has their own breakthrough. Hopefully, each person gets to that point. For you, what would you say was part of, or an important ingredient, or an important personality in that kind of coming around that end, as you described, kind of emerging from throwing your hands up in the air and why me, to getting to a point of what you described as kind of coming through on the other side? By no means an overnight story, but was there some ingredient, input, or individual that played a part in that process?
Yeah. To be honest, I only started reaching out to the centering community within the last 4 or 5 years, actually. Uh, uh, now now I live in Toronto, as you mentioned off the top of the show. In the fall of 2018, the Canadian Stuttering Association had their annual conference, and I think I maybe spoken to one or two people who stutter online before that. Um, um, Maybe a few more, but um, I yeah, I remember hearing about the CSA conference, and it wasn't far from where I lived, and no, look into it, and I, and I said to myself, like, this is something I really want to attend because, um, um, it's, it just means uh, I mean, so many other people who stutter and listening and hearing so many people speak, and yeah, yeah, yeah. Eh, uh, uh, um, yes, I was excited. I went, and I wasn't disappointed at all. It was a fantastic conference, and um, their speaker um, was an, an author at the name of David Stones, and uh, 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 no, 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 uh, no, no, yeah. So Mr. Stones, David was up there, speaking, just telling his story about, tells us about his career as a writer, his time as a student at the University of Toronto, and and there's just something about it is stage presence was very calm. It's he was very eloquent and fluent. It just sounded like a natural storyteller, and I no no and I remember seriously thinking during the speech, it's no, Sarah was kind of wondering um what his connection to stuttering was, because if you had a friend or a loved one who stuttered, because to me he spoke so fluently, it's well, there's no way he could be a stutterer, a person who stutters rather, and yeah, and then he talked about his own challenges as a person who stutters. I'm like, wait, what? Because I mean, I don't know how old David is. I don't. I think he's 50s, early 60s, and just going through his stories and and just describing his own hardships as a person who stutters. It's well, at first I was really liking him because he was such a great storyteller, but now I respect him more because he's a person who stutters. And I'm not saying I would respect him less if he weren't. I'm just
By the way, I appreciate that. I appreciate that sensitivity of having respect for those of us that don't stutter.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I, yeah, there was just something about David's speech that really, um, really resonated with me, really stood out, and we spoke to him afterwards, and I was thrilled. He was a consummate gentleman. He was like very humble and soft spoken, and no, no. And the big thing for me was like, uh, and um, uh, like again, I don't know David's age exactly, but being that he's like in his 50s or around that, um, uh, uh, yeah, that was like a good reminder that like uh, well, here I am, someone who grew up thinking like not just with Southern, but other areas in life, but Southern specifically. Uh, Here I was thinking that like, oh man, I hear so many kids who stuttered who grew out of it, and it's like, well, I guess I have to grow out of it at some point. Otherwise, it's um, um, personally unsatisfactory, I guess, for lack of a better term. Um, um, no, no, and so like, so I thought about that, and then when I heard David speak, I'm like, even though he was still a person who stutters, it was clear he had a much better grasp on it, and uh, um, but just from his attitude, from his like his general outlook, he didn't seem like the least bit like bitter about it at all. He was really, he was a real pro about it, and no, no, and that's one big lesson I took. It's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are. It's just, you know what I mean?
Totally. Some sooner, some later.
Yeah, exactly.
Winners,
Yes.
slow winners. If you know, you know. Do you write your own? This is like a side coming at you from left field, but just curious. I'm fascinated with your profession and your craft. Do you write your own headlines? Is that something you do?
Yes, I do. I do admit, headlines have never really been my forte, though. But yeah,
Fine. So
I
then
do.
I was gonna ask you, because headlines are not my forte either. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, if we could look back at that speech and give it a headline, like a takeaway, something would be like a juicy teaser. We don't have to do that now, but I think it's cool to kind of look back at complex experiences and like catalog them and file them, as like capturing them in that way. And I also want to give you a shout out. You have the greatest Twitter handle of all time, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
As a dyslexic guy who takes a long time to read, and I have to use some strategies myself and employ some things that I do to do that, and thankfully pick those up along the way. And spelling was never easy, but your handle as a writer is Ryan Writes Good. Love it.
Yes.
And I've been trying to convince my mother-in-law that that's the right way to write it. She thinks it's Ryan Writes Well. When you have an adverb, I've been trying to tell her that it's Ryan Writes Good.
Yeah, that's right. Hint, hint. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
Mom,
no,
if you're listening, obviously the point is that the Queen's English would suggest that it's Ryan Writes Well, but apparently in Canada this is how they write.
no, no, no. No, you know what? To be honest, yeah, for the longest time, I went by the, as you say, Queen's English, and it's like, because like whenever athletes speaking post game interview or something. They talk about how they played and they, how they played good, and I'm there sitting on the couch saying, "Well," as opposed to no. Yeah, and that was a mindset. It's not one of those things that like gets me. It's just one of those things I just correct jokingly. It's yeah.
I think it's great though, because I think what's great about it on so many levels, and I think it goes into this whole conversation about stuttering, is that if you're a sports writer, most of us would obsess about the copy, would obsess about the spelling, the layout, the font on our resume. Your Twitter handle is grammatical, for crying out loud. Like, that's
Yeah, for
gutsy.
sure.
It's different. It's memorable. If it
Hmm.
was Ryan Writes Well, first of all, it'd be a really lame Twitter handle. Second of all,
Yeah,
who would remember it? It's like, yeah, so does John. But Ryan writes good. There's not a lot of others like that. It's memorable. And so I remember um, mm, Catherine Preston in her book, Out With It, says this
hmm,
at the end of her book. She says, this thing that she despised, this thing that she was looking to eradicate, became a
yeah,
sort of signature in networking and being memorable.
yeah.
I think that's really profound. What would you say? One other interesting question, actually, again off the topic, but it relates to the topic. There's always this question when I'm transcribing a podcast and there's stuttered speech, or there are these other sounds that may come in for someone who stutters.
Yeah.
Which parts of that am I whitewashing and taking away their voice versus which parts of that are not part of their intended message and should be cleaned out? So I'm wondering, put that aside for a moment. I think that's a really
Yeah.
interesting conversation. Let's bring it to sports. So you get these
Sure.
athletes and they're like, yeah, coach taught us real good. He taught us real good. We were prepared, and that's their vernacular. That's how they're speaking. When you're writing
Yeah.
in the paper, what are the rules? Do you clean it up? Do you make it grammatical? Or if their words were spoken in that way, you put it in the way they were spoken?
Yeah. Um. Uh, uh, um.
That's okay. This is the sick episode. That was perfect.
Yes, perfect. There you go. Um. They like to say, yeah, you know a lot. For instance, so like if they're, uh, yeah, I was transcribing a speech just a few weeks ago, and and when the players, when answering something that when transcribed it was only about like a minute long, but the amount of he said in there, it's like, oh my god, I can't use all these. It's so yeah, so like, um, yeah, so like get as a formal rule, I mean, sometimes leave it out, sometimes I'll just like do the brackets and then dot 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 in place of it. Yeah, no. I mean, like, yeah, as long as it doesn't take away from the story. Yeah.
Right. So now to more of what some of the topics I was excited to talk to you about and that you shared you'd be willing to talk about, which I think is really courageous and helpful,
Thank
talking
you.
about the things that need to be talked about more. So not only do you have a stutter, I think that's more apparent
Yeah.
as we're having this conversation, but you also have cerebral palsy and you live with depression,
Yeah, that's right.
which is less visible as we're sitting here. Um,
Yes.
what would you say has been the more challenging of those three? Are they equally or each in their own way, or is one more so? And I'll just preface that by saying, is you could kind of think a little bit about it, but I met one Canadian country singer, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. He's
Mhm.
blind and he stutters, and he said
Okay.
stuttering is far more challenging for him than being blind. And I know
I
another
see.
performing musician who was also blind, ultimately was confronted with cancer and
Oh,
had a
jeez.
stutter, and also depression. And she too, when she dealt with cancer and faced the end of her life, depression and blindness did not challenge her as much
Uh,
as the frustration of not finding her way with her stutter. So in a way, this stutter, which many outsiders could feel would be like of the lesser sort compared to
yeah.
something like cerebral palsy or depression, for the lived experience of this person, this was the biggest one. So I don't know if you relate to that in any way, but I think it's just an interesting insider's view. I don't know if you'd like to share on that or take it where you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll be honest. Like cerebral palsy was a factor maybe the first 9, 10 years of my life, and that was more or less. I still have it, obviously, but I mean, I talk about this in my book. It's like back when I was born, it's like most babies come out with head first. I came on my bum first, so yeah, and yeah, so it was a breach, and like
Like your feet first or your bum?
bum. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I've never been good at science or anything like that. So like, but more or less, it's like um, I just lost a bit more oxygen at birth than I should have. So they put me in a brace and geez, I remember the first like, well, I don't remember, but my mom always told me that I like when I was a baby, her and my dad had to like rearrange my body for like, well, reposition rather. I say rearrange. I think they're like, yeah. Anyway, but they had to do that for like maybe 20 minutes a night because I couldn't move under my own volition for a certain part of that stage of my life. And like and in fact, I mean, it affected me in gym class. Like we had to like run track or something or play football where I was a very slow runner. Um but honestly, uh well, I never thought of a career in track anyway. It just it you know it 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 was never a big deal. And like I mean, in school I had occupational therapy and and uh, 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 like I took a lot of typing classes because like a lot of people have CP are left-handed and like so the left dominant side is like considerably weaker. That hasn't been an issue in my adult life, but as a kid, it's like they want to get me typing using uh, uh, both hands, but like I just could never get uh, comfortable using my right hand, except I just use it for like the shift and enter key. And honestly, it's like, uh, you know, I just type so much over the years. It's just like, like I'm able to type like guess like 80 words per minute using just my left hand. And it's like, people look at me and I'm like, and they're like, oh man, how do you do that? I'm like, and it's nothing to me. I'm just so used to it. But it's like, uh, yeah. So in that sense, cerebral palsy hasn't really affected my adult life. Um,
Question, Ryan,
sure.
just on that, I just think that's fascinating. So as we're having this conversation, um, how taxing is your stuttering right now? Is it kind of like fluid, flowing, and doesn't really phase you, or is it more taxing, moderately taxing?
I don't know. I like more or less the more comfortable I am, the better I get. Just like for example, when first began talking, I was a bit um. Well, actually, the first question you asked me, I was like, it took me a while to get a word out. Um, I mean, I'm still having trouble. I mean, I'm not fluent by any
Well,
means.
I just wanna make sure my intention is clear. I found it fascinating that as you were explaining about typing, if I heard you right, you're typing with one hand. Is that right?
Yeah, That's right.
You're a writer. You write a heck of a lot. I think all
Hmm.
of us, if we sprained our wrist or had an injury to a finger and had one hand immobilized or not
Hmm.
at full use, and we had one hand to type with, many of us would start having a fit. I know I would. And you said, yeah, it's
Yeah.
really no big deal. Like I can do 80 words a minute. So I found that fascinating because essentially that was what you were given. You're working with what you got. It has
Hmm.
become somewhat not taxing, meaning it's a thing. You don't have the
Yeah.
facility of 10 fingers to work as quickly and in coordination as some other people do, but you express yourself through typing and you get the job done, and it's not that taxing. It doesn't, you don't see it as a big burden. And so I was just
Yeah.
wondering with the stuttering that's going on, not so much measuring or looking at the acoustic interruptions or flow or whatever cadence, but more so like, is it taxing to you? Or do you just kind of groove through it as we're having this conversation in relation to the way you
Oh,
kind of said how the hand is really not a big deal?
oh yeah. Especially in situations like this, it's not. My stuttering's not taxing at all. I just get through it.
Nice.
Well, it's easier with this than to speak with you because because kind of like second nature. I've always been like, I'm always reminding myself to, I was like, I start speaking, and if I have trouble, I'll say, "Oh, sorry, by the way, I stutter," which for some reason I say fluently. Uh,
Hmm.
um, and that's the thing, like especially, uh, especially getting to know the stuttering community over the last few years, whether on podcasts or or people from the NSA, like anything, and it's like, uh, whenever I stop to make that forewarning, I'm like, oh wait, so most people you stop for are people who don't know you, don't understand. Uh, 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 these people already do, so there's no need for that. Right?
So I think that's profound and probably surprising. So if you're listening, drop a comment or a question or a like on that because if I'm hearing you right, Brian, you're saying, yeah, the stuttering right now, it's actually more easy for you, even though there might be much stuttering going on. It's not taxing because like
Mhm.
we both know what's up. Is that what you're saying?
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's incredible. Again, I think just taken for granted. So I'm just trying to punctuate that. I think it's extraordinary. So something else
Mhm.
that you shared, and I'm actually going to read the Amazon description of your book as a lead into
Sure, go
this.
ahead.
But I think the question is, what's your main goal when you're writing articles or you wrote your book? Like, what's your goal? What's your hope? The title of your book, and I recommend everybody check it out on Amazon and your local bookseller. All the Right Words: My Journey as a Sports Writer Who Stutters by Ryan Kelly. Forward by Eddie Lack, those of you that don't know, former NHL goaltender. So this is the description here. I'll read it and then maybe you could share with us what's your goal in writing articles and books. Since early childhood, I've been a person who stutters. I also loved hockey and writing, or Canadian hockey. Growing up as a person who stuttered came with its share of challenges. I was bullied, mocked, doubted, and even dismissed because I had considerable difficulty speaking. These were catalysts to long-term depression, leading me to doubt myself as a successful person. As an escape, I would write. And while I loved writing stories and screenplays, nothing gave me more pleasure than writing about my favorite teams and players, commenting on their victories and even their defeats. It wasn't until I was an adult, though, that I wanted to be a regular sports writer. Unfortunately, due to being a person who stutters, I couldn't conduct phone or in person interviews, or so I thought. For years, I had limited myself due to my stutter. However, during a dark time in my life, I decided that something needed to change. With new creative methods, I gave interviewing a try. Lo and behold, it worked. And since then, I've interviewed hundreds in the sports industry, while having the privilege of covering some major events and writing for some major platforms. In this book, I take you on my journey as a sports writer who stutters. This includes some important people in my life who've helped me achieve what I've always wanted to, on a journey filled with its share of sadness and frustration, but also perseverance and vindication. I hope you enjoy reading my story as much as I've enjoyed telling it. Read on and enjoy. Well, I got shivers.
Oh, you do?
So just one more time. That's Ryan Cowley's book. You can get it on Amazon. All the Right Words, and wasn't that piece right there all the right words or what? So yeah, what's your goal, Ryan, as a writer of articles and this book? What are you hoping it brings to the world?
I mean, honestly, when I started writing, but when I really got into sports writing, like you know, like the attitude of of I'll make someone proud, or also some skeptic. Those like the furthest things from my mind. I started writing basically like I explained it. Like I just love telling stories. As for this book, and I've said this before in speeches I've made for like centering organizations. It's like, there have been some close friends and some family members who have, who have suggested that I should, that I share my story and I honestly didn't think too much of it because I thought, well, they say like it could be inspiring to someone, and I mean, I'll be honest, I never saw my story as anything like that, and like it was just my story and how I did things, and it wasn't a big deal, and that's really how I saw it, and then the more I thought about it, I'm like, well, okay, maybe I will try this because like my attitude is that like it's like I said in my speech before, this would be completely worthwhile. Excuse me.
Hey, it's the sick episode. Just a reminder.
Yeah.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So what would be if you were, do one more question before we get to the golden question, which I shared with you at the beginning. If you have a few moments, yeah, take a little bit extra time, overtime.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I got time.
Yeah, who was the biggest influence or mentor in your life? And I don't know if that dovetails with or is separate from, in that Amazon description that I shared, you said you were in a pretty rough spot, and then from that rough spot you kind of leaned into an epiphany of opportunity. I don't know if these things are connected, but it's kind of an unpredictable and a certain amount of dissonance with that. So I don't know, was there someone that was a part of that, or was that an internal spark? And that might have been one of those people in the lives.
Yeah, my biggest inspiration is my brother Adam. I have two brothers. Rob is the other one. And now I don't want to.
Now you really got your foot in your mouth.
Yeah. I really got myself in the corner here. Yeah, before I go on with Adam, I just wanted to like let everyone know it. Like, it's not that Rob is not an inspiration. Rob has been. We'll
let you guys resolve all the brotherly love and all the greatness. Go with with what you.
If there's any Christmas conflicts, it's not for another 12 months. So yeah, Rob has been like a huge help to me over the years, and I would ask for Adam. We go back to the dark time in my life, 2016. He was actually the one who suggested that that I try the alternative communication method, if you will, to ask them those questions because at that point, I mean, like I was just so. I mean, I was unemployed. I was lonely. I was like, throw every adjective out there. I was just like, I was just like angry and bitter generally, and one of those things that really took a toll on me, like emotionally, but like even physically. It was like I couldn't even. I mean, I could get out of bed, but it took a while. Yeah, and I remember around that time, it's like, hey, I want to do this to keep myself busy, if nothing else. But hey, again, too bad I stuttered that the whole that negative mindset that I've had for such a long time. And then Adam had suggested that, well, because like the late movie critic Roger Ebert had, at the end of his life when he had cancer, he had a voice synthesizer to help him speak. Now, of course, I knew I didn't have the funds to get that, but also made me think because 2016, and the adage "there's an app for that" it had been around for a few years at that point, and that's how I thought of of recording my questions into an app and then playing them and and Adam was a big help because whether it's writing, whether it's whether it's even like my non-writing career, it's like he always gave me suggestions, and he was always like very encouraging. And now I mean, not all of his ideas were great, but but a lot of them were. And like at no point Adam or anyone really in my family, had said oh well, I honestly don't know what else you can do. Like at no point that he or they had ever said that they were always, well, Adam especially was always giving me like a lot of good encouraging ideas to try this, and and I'm thankful to Adam for that, but a lot of things for instance, I mean, I'm a LA Kings fan because of Adam, because Adam was a big Wayne Gretzky fan, and because we lived on the East Coast, Kings game started like 3 hours later, so Adam would always take that time if my parents were in bed or something, and we always take that time to bond and talk about hockey, but also just talk about life in general. So yeah, so I'm sorry, going back, like a lot of people who have inspired me, who are my inspirations, but arguably my biggest is my brother Adam. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm going to assume he does not stutter. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. He does not.
You can be an inspiration and be a supportive ally and family member and friend, even if you don't stutter.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And also it's encouraging for those of us, parents, friends, partners, siblings, who feel so overwhelmed by the experience to just just show up, just have those conversations and be the brother, the spouse, family member, parent that you would be for anybody. And obviously with a little extra topic to explore, a little extra something to connect around. So the golden question that I like to finish with is, knowing what you know now, what would you want to be able to kind of go back and tell your 12-year-old or 14-year-old self? What would be one bit of wisdom if you could go back, Marty McFly style?
Yeah. I just watched that the other night. Back to the Future, by the way.
Now, there's no doubt in my mind, as I was kibitzing with you before we got on, clearly your younger self would look at you today and say, "What's with the Boston hat?" But we're going to leave that.
Oh, no. I was a lifelong vet.
It's okay. We're not going to, again, there's some things we're not going to get to resolve in this few minutes that we have, but
yeah,
you've
that's
already
right.
just just for the record, I had to just make sure and make a point of that, being a Bronx-born Bomber, New York Yankees all the
No,
way.
I know. And out of respect, I will not talk about the 2004 ALCS. Okay, just
Okay, do you want to end it here, or do you want to? Yeah, let's.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry I said that.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
Let's take a walk through a more, Monument Park, and see what we got
Oh
there.
no. Oh no! As a baseball historian, I fully appreciate that. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm happy to do that.
Absolutely.
Sorry that we got off track a bit.
That's okay. So we're with your younger self.
yeah.
We're taking a walk. We're taking a walk through Cooperstown. Okay.
Yes, that's right.
And there we are, Field of Dreams style, Cooperstown. And yeah, what would you tell your younger self as you're looking over the lake there in Cooperstown?
Yeah, I would tell myself, don't ever give up, because it gets better. Yeah, because you know what? Now, even though I've had serious depression, I mean, I have unfortunately contemplated and even tried suicide in later years. My idea of giving up as a 12-year-old, it didn't involve suicide, but no, but like, I think the point still stands. It's like, because I remember like my younger self, let's say 10 to 12 for argument's sake. There's just so many times that like, and going back to what I was saying earlier about, how I viewed my stuttering as a curse for all intents and purposes. And like, just like, I'm so angry at those kids for bullying me, but I can't stand up to them because like, well, one, I don't want to get in trouble, one if I stutter, and and it just brings me back to that age where like everything was so overwhelming and nothing it seemed good, and it's like, well, if I'm being boxed out and because I stutter, and I've been boxed out as an adult too for that reason, unfortunately, but like yes, it does seem like like everything sucks and that that nothing's good, but just remember basically 4 points. One, don't give up. 2, it gets better. 3, be patient. And 4, be resilient. And you know what? It may have taken me a bit longer to get where I am, but like, I went through a lot of hardships, but the last 5-6 years have been beyond rewarding, to say the least. And it's like, it has been completely worthwhile as a result.
I think that's 4 incredibly valuable pieces. Don't give up. It gets better. Be patient and be resilient. And even more than the value of those words, they're valuable words written. They're valuable words spoken. I could speak those words, but they're even more valuable coming from you and listening to you say them. And
well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Well, I think that too many people have been encouraged and given encouragement, and often with the best intentions, but it could be suspect or thought of as shallow or inconsiderate if someone doesn't really know the shoes you're walking in.
Sure.
Maybe they do. You don't even know if they do. But I think on the receiving end, it's it's sometimes hard for someone who's dealing with something challenging to receive those words from someone who isn't in the thick of that or doesn't know that firsthand. So that's
Yeah.
why I think for so many people, and for me in this moment, listening to you say those words carries enormous strength. Thinking of you as a man with a stutter, sharing these words as you're stuttering, listening to you as a man with living with depression and cerebral palsy, and I just can't get over you punching out prolific articles and books, 80 words a minute with one hand. I mean,
Mhm.
it blows my mind. So I wish I was that kid to get that message from you. So I thank you for sharing that wisdom with us. And I hope this is the
Absolutely.
first of more conversations and opportunities. So I just want to reiterate Ryan Cowley. Ryan seems to be a great name for modest heroes from Canada. If you know who else is named Ryan, well known Canadian, you get a prize. But check out Ryan's book, All the Right Words, on Amazon. And it has been a privilege. And if you've enjoyed this episode, check out all the others. We recorded several incredible episodes with some outstanding people, which have not yet come out. But you can find all these podcasts everywhere that you enjoy podcasts at Transcending Stuttering with Uri Schneider on any podcast platform. And we will be bringing out our new website at transcendingx.com. That'll be up within a few hours with some great opportunities coming up. But I want to thank Ryan and thank all of you for joining us. I look forward to a strong 2022.
All right. Thank you.
This has been the sick episode. Hopefully, the next one will be the healthy episode.
Okay, cool.